There are things that seem small, but when you really look at them, they tell you exactly where a team stands. And this message from Deshaun Watson, locked in, might look like just another off-season post. But to me, this says way more about where the Browns are right now than people realize. Because it's not just about him being focused, it's about him being under pressure. Let's put this into the right context. Watson hasn't played since October 2024. Since then, it's been one issue after another, and not the kind you can just brush off. Major Achilles injury, second surgery, suspension history, shoulder injury before that, and most importantly, barely any time on the field since he got to Cleveland. We're talking about a quarterback who was supposed to be the franchise savior, but has only played 19 games since the 2022 trade. And that changes how you look at everything he does right now. Because this locked in isn't just mindset, it's survival in the NFL. Now, look at the team's situation. The Browns are heading into this offseason with a new head coach, Todd Monken, a guy known for tailoring his system to the QB. That matters. This isn't just a new playbook, it's a whole new philosophy. And that creates a very interesting situation. For the first time since he got here, Watson doesn't have that guaranteed QB1 spot. He's got to earn it. And here's the part a lot of folks still aren't putting enough weight on. This QB competition is real. This ain't just off-season talk. Because on the other side, you've got Shedeur Sanders. And even with inconsistent numbers, he's already shown something Watson hasn't in Cleveland: availability and continuity. 7 starts, 3-4 record, mid-stats. But he's out there playing. And sometimes in the NFL, that alone matters, especially when the other guy can't stay on the field. Now let's get to what really matters. What does this actually change? First, the Browns' offense could look completely different depending on who wins that job. If it's Watson, you're probably getting a more post-snap raid offense, more improvisation, more off-script plays, that Houston-style magic that we still haven't really seen in Cleveland. If it's Sanders, you're likely looking at something more structured, more rhythm, more timing, a more controlled offense, less dependent on backyard football. And that affects everything. How receivers are used, play design, O-line protection schemes, even game tempo. Now here's something not enough people are talking about, but to me it's huge. Watson working out with receivers before camp. Jerry Jeudy, Isaiah Bond, Jamari Thrash. That's not just extra reps. That's a QB trying to build chemistry before walking into a fight. That's a guy who knows he can't afford to show up cold. And here's my honest read. I don't think Watson feels comfortable. And honestly, he shouldn't. Because this is, very likely, his last real shot as QB1 for the Browns. Fully guaranteed $230 million contract. But that doesn't lock you in as the starter anymore. Not now. Even Andrew Berry made it clear. Any extension depends on performance. In other words, the money's already spent. Now it's about production. And yeah, we gotta address the elephant in the room. Is it still worth betting on Watson? My answer: it depends on what he shows right now. Not the past, not Houston, not 2020, right now. Because up to this point, the truth is tough. He hasn't lived up to the investment. And it's not all on him. Injuries, circumstances, chaos. But in the NFL, excuses don't win games. Production does. Now let's break down the scenario. Best case scenario. Watson comes back healthy, lighter like they're saying, fits into Monken's system, and finally shows consistency. If that happens, the Browns get a high-ceiling QB without burning more draft capital. And then everything changes. Worst case scenario. He can't stay healthy or just doesn't perform. Then the Browns are in a tough spot. Massive contract already paid, lost time, and a desperate need to find a new QB, whether that's Sanders, the draft, or the market. In that scenario, it's not far-fetched. Now here's a middle ground scenario that feels pretty realistic. Watson starts as QB1, but on a short leash. Struggles too much? Sanders steps in. No production, quick switch, and that creates something that can be both good and bad. Constant competition. Good because it raises the level. Bad because it can kill offensive stability. And there's another strategic angle here that not enough people are discussing. The Browns have 2 first-round picks. That means even with Watson and Sanders, they can still go get another QB. So this current battle, it might not even be the future. It could just be a transition. Now, as a Browns fan, let me be real. I want Watson to work out. Because if he plays to his potential, this team levels up instantly. But blindly trusting that right now? Nah, not with this track record, not with this sample size. So when I see that locked-in post, I don't see hype. I see a guy who knows exactly what's at stake. And maybe, for the first time in Cleveland, he's treating it the way he should have all along. Now let me ask you straight up. If the season started today, are you rolling with Watson as QB1? No questions asked? Or is this thing wide open in your mind now? Because to me, this ain't about potential anymore. It's about execution.